And welcome to the second attempt at this install. So I have done this install on Windows. This is setting up for ZAP. And then we're going to try to hit the DVWA. So a previous video I did this on Windows. Some other people are still having issues with Kali, so I figured we'd give it a shot on Kali as well. So what I have is a Kali Linux box 2023.2, so it's a default build. All I've done is enabled SSH, so I can just copy a file across to give us a little bit of an instruction manual that I've put together, so that should be fine. Now, apart from that, everything else is the default. So let's kick it off. The first thing we'll need to do is set up a terminal so we can actually see everything. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so that should work fine for everybody. Okay, so first thing always do is, apart from clear my history, use apt update. Update. Do a quick little update on the system, make sure it's all working fine. Okay, the update's finished. Let's give it a quick reboot and get started. Okay, so Kali is back up. Okay, we are back. Just get our screen back up to res. Okay. Should be big enough. Yeah, a couple more. There we go. Cool. We are back. Okay, so we've done our update. Make sure everything's up and running. So next thing we need to do is install Chrome. So the Chrome browser, I want that installed because I have seen some issues with Chrome, Firefox causing some problems. So let's get Chrome on there. So just do a quick search for Chrome. Okay, make sure you are going to the Google link and not something else. Okay, download Chrome. 64-bit Debian one is one we want. Okay, that should be down. Yep, she's down. Okay. Now, okay, so we have it there. So next thing we need to do is we should be able to do a sudo dp package -i to install Google Chrome. Okay, Chrome is now, there were errors encountered with it. Hang on a second, let's see what's going on here. Did we get Chrome down? I want to send statistics. Okay, Chrome looks like it is working fine. Google, yeah, it's working fine. Okay, so let's not worry about that. Okay, next thing is validate Java. Okay, well, you have a version of Java installed. Okay, so Java's installed. Next thing we'll need to do is install ZAP. So ZAP was on by default and it's no longer here. It was under here with Burp Suite. It's no longer there, so let's chuck that on. Update, just update our repos again, and we'll do a sudo update install, and it's called, is it ZAP Zaproxy. Should be Zap from memory. Yeah, we'll find out. It'll do an update and then it'll go through and find Zap. If it's not Zap, it's Zaproxy. Okay. Proxy. Okay. So first thing comes into being installed. Okay, so I do have an issue with one of the other installs, so let's just quickly fix that up. Okay. So there's obviously a problem. That was the problem with the Google one, so we've fixed that up. Okay, so next thing we need to do is reinstall zaproxy, as we said. So let's fire that off. Okay, so zaproxy is now on. Okay, what I'll do is let me just take note of that command I ran just to quickly fix up after Chrome, just so we've got that in place in case anyone needs it. So that was just a sudo apt fix broken install. Okay, I'll add that to the description so everybody's got those comments. Okay, so Zap is now installed. We should be fine. We have Java, we have Zap, we have those. So next thing we need to do is just install Docker. So Docker should be in the repo for the supported version of Docker, if I can type it today, docker.io. Okay, Docker is now installed. Next thing we'll do is we'll set it up so it's actually going to run for us all the time, so the service will be running. Okay, so the service is now running. Should be able to run Docker. Okay, Docker is there. We seem to be good. Let's add ourselves to the Docker permissions so we can run stuff ourselves. Good, we are good to go. Okay, so Docker is down. Next thing we'll need to do is we'll need to pull down the container to get us going. So this is the first one I'm going to access. So let's just grab that one down. So let's do a Docker pull. Container we want is the vulnerables /web DVWA. Pull that down. Okay, so run it with the sudo command. So we got a permission issue with it, so that's all right. Okay, it's going to use the latest tag, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's going to grab down the container for us. And then we'll fire it off. Good. Docker container's down. Okay, next one is to run the container. Okay, so we'll still use a sudo command, docker rm interactive port, and we want to specify the port 80 to 80, so it should run on localhost 8080, 80 external, which is where we would hit on localhost, and then it'll redirect it to the internal address on port 80. The container we want to run, vulnerable /web DVWA. Okay. Did I do a typo? Yep, typo. So that's starting it up. That's going to leave it in the interactive mode, so it's going to keep the log up and running for us. So let's sort of just push that over to the side. Just let that run. Okay, so now we have everything up and running. Let's fire up Zap and make sure that Zap actually works. So, okay, so Zap is now here. So let's start Zap. Okay, no, I don't want to persist the sessions at the moment and tell it to remember chest. As I said this before, we can change that around as we need to. So we now have Zap. So let me just bring that across. Zap started, our Docker container started. Everything looks fine at the moment. Okay, now if we wanted to test a few things, what I'll do is I'll close Zap down. Reason for that is Zap auto starts up a proxy and it hooks the proxy into all your browsers. First thing I want to do is make sure that the vulnerable container is actually up and running. So let's fire up browser, go to localhost. Okay, so it is up and running. Let's run our admin and our super secret password, which is completely things. So let's tell them it's safe. It's up. Let's hit the database. Okay, so it is going to create the database for us. So to be successful, let's kick this out. Beautiful. Let's log back in. Okay. So good, all working. Let's close that down. Let's bring Zap back up now and we'll start the process for it. Okay. So Zap is running there. Now, to test Zap the way they've asked us to, or to play around with it in a sense, let's flick it across to protected mode first. Then what we can do is we can actually fire off into a browser. And this will open up a local browser for us and it should give us our HUD. Or we can go to manual. Manual is a better way to do this. So enable HUD, which is the same as clicking the button up here. So let's just in here, go to our local container because we know it's running a website. Now here you'll see there's a Firefox. Let's just flick that across to Chrome. Okay, launch browser. And we can see I am hitting it. It is working fine. The HUD has come up. I can do all my tutorial stuff I need to in here as I need to. It'll have all those things, those fancy things in there, all that stuff. So it's all there. A vulnerable web container is up. We can see the HUD activities are still here. So we can do what we need to do. So far, so good. Okay, so I'm back at the moment. So did a little bit of troubleshooting trying to work out why people were having problems, and I think I managed to work out what it is. I originally had some problems with Firefox. That's why I use Chrome. So I don't think that's what the problem is. So let's go through getting this up and running, and I'll talk you through what I believe the problem is that people are having. So OWASP is up and running. It's working fine at the moment. I haven't made any changes to the box at the moment, so let's just kick it off again. So first thing we'll do is we've already tested our site, we've tested our hub, so we know that that's working at the moment. I can fire off a browser and I can just go straight to the site if I needed to. And you'll see that it's working. The site's working fine. There's no issue with that at the moment. So site's up, container's up and running. Let's get everything going. So I do have a number of ones in here. So let's first of all clear these out. We don't need these. So let's just confirm, get them gone. Okay, so let's start. So tutorial talks about using localhost and DWA. So first things first is this is an old URL. Get rid of it. We're going to localhost. The issue I think people have been having is people have been using a mixture between localhost and an IP address, which is where the problem comes in. You have to use one or the other, or you have to set up your context for both. So let's kick it off first of all. Authentication script. go into scripts, add a script, authentication, right click, new script. Okay, call it DVWA auth. So it is an authentication one, set the engine to the ECMA, hit save, and we're good. Okay, from here, we need to bring our function code in. What I've done is I've just copied that out to another file to make it easier for myself. Copy it, bring it back in, paste. Okay, do our modification we need to make it work with our configuration we're going to use. Everything there is good. Next thing we need to do is go back to our site and set up our context. So this is what we're going to be scanning against, and this is a configuration setting. So double click on it. Now, first thing we need to do is set up our include. Now, include is going to be this, which is a regular expression looking for localhost. Add that in. If that doesn't match, it will not come up when you try to do your spider as a default context. So next one we need to do is we need to add the excludes. So the excludes are basically the login.php. Log out.php. Last one is the setup.php. So there are 3 excludes we needed. Nothing in structure technology. Next one we need to do is authentication. Here, change it to script. Set it to our script. Hit load. Okay, and it brings in our variables. So go back down to my notes for the variables. It's all good. Regular expression. The logout. The login. Okay, so they're in there. Users, let's add our admin user. Super complex password. Enable force users there, that's done. Go. Everything else should be exactly the same as defaults. Hit OK. Turn on forced login. Okay, so should be right. Everything should be right. What we don't have at the moment is we don't have a site to come through, but let's kick off. So first thing we want to do is add spider and add active scans. So let's fire off the spider first. New scan. Starting point. Local host. Okay, now select our context. Okay, so it's not there. So we don't have it yet. All right, can't select anything there so we can see. Okay, so even if I go into here, host, yeah, our local context is there, that's fine. Admin. Okay, now we are fine. If you don't see localhost here and you can't type it in, do a manual scan first at localhost and then try. Okay, let's hit start scan. So it's going through all of those ones. It's doing our scans for us. Let's see if we got anything. Authentication is successful. We are in. Okay, so what did we get? Got our local host. We can see most of the stuff coming through. This is the authentication one that they pointed out, so that's all good. We are good. Let's try another spider against it. Okay, rerun it again. Start scan. Let it go through. Let's go through all those once again. We're good. I think we have everything. We've got so far 9. Okay, so let's bring that across. Last one, active scan. New active scan. We want to select our starting point of our local host. Context is fine. Select our user. Okay, and hit start scan. And away it goes. And this is going to take a good 5-10 minutes, so we'll come back once it's finished. Okay, and we are done. Scan is finished. 2 vulnerabilities, so we can click on alerts now. We can see here we have remote OS execution, and we have a SQL injection. All good. The other ones come through here. So yeah, all done, all working. Thanks for watching.